If you watched that game from start to finish, you felt it in real time. This wasn't just another win on the schedule. This was the 49ers planting a flag and sending a very real message to the rest of the NFC. In a primetime environment, against a legitimate opponent that came in with momentum and confidence, the Niners showed exactly who they are and, more importantly, who they're becoming at the most important point of the season. This team is getting better every single week, and that's the scariest thing for anyone who might have to face them when the games really matter. Think about the stakes here. A Sunday night matchup, national spotlight, playoff implications everywhere you look, and a chance to take another step toward having the postseason run through Levi's Stadium. The 49ers didn't just survive that moment, they embraced it. They won a back-and-forth, high-pressure game that came down to the final play, and they did it while dealing with adversity, injuries, and momentum. Swings that would have rattled a lot of teams. That's not luck, that's identity. Before we go any further, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and notifications are turned on. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers, and if you're locked in for this playoff push, you don't want to miss the daily updates, breakdowns, and injury news that's coming fast. Also, drop a quick like on the video if this win made you feel even more confident about where this team is headed. What stood out most in this game wasn't just the score, it was the resilience. Giving up a pick six on the very first play could have flipped the entire night. Instead, the response was calm, aggressive, and confident. That tells you everything about the mindset inside this locker room right now. This is a next-man-up team that doesn't flinch, doesn't panic, and doesn't lose belief when things get uncomfortable. Let me ask you this, and answer honestly in the comments. Do you think this was the biggest win of the season so far? Yes or no? Not the prettiest, not the cleanest, but the most meaningful in terms of confidence and momentum. Because when you zoom out, this win felt like a turning point. The offense is clicking, the energy is different, and the belief is real. And it all starts with the quarterback, because what Brock Purdy did after that first snap tells the entire story of why this team is so dangerous right now. That's where we're going next, because his performance was more than just good. It was a statement of its own. After that first snap went the worst possible way, the entire tone of the night could have collapsed. A pick six on play one is usually how games spiral out of control, especially against a team that thrives on turnovers. But what Brock Purdy did after that moment is exactly why this win meant so much more than just another notch in the standings. He didn't rush. He didn't force throws. He didn't try to play hero ball. He simply went back to doing what he's been doing all season, which is stacking great decision after great decision. From that point on, Brock Purdy absolutely carved up the Bears' defense. This was a unit that came into the game leading the league in turnover margin. And after that opening play, Purdy completely shut the door. No panic throws, no reckless decisions. He controlled the game with his eyes, his timing, and his confidence. He got the ball out quickly when he needed to, extended plays when it made sense, and punished coverage. Mistakes all night long. That's growth. That's maturity. And that's what you want to see from a quarterback as the season reaches its most critical stretch. The matchup narrative made it even better. First overall pick versus the final pick in the draft. Two young quarterbacks on the same field. Both talented, both capable, but only one truly commanded the moment. Purdy didn't just match the energy, he set it. And after throwing that interception on the first play, he didn't give the Bears another real opportunity to flip the game with turnovers. Against a defense that lives off mistakes, that was the difference. And let's not overlook how difficult that is. The Bears brought pressure, They mixed coverages. They tried to bait throws. None of it mattered. Purdy stayed disciplined and efficient, and when the game demanded more, he delivered it. Even his mobility mattered. The scrambles, the awareness in the red zone, the ability to turn broken plays into points. That's the version of Brock Purdy that changes ceilings for this team. Quick question for you. Be honest in the comments. Do you think Brock Purdy is playing the best football of his career right now? Yes or no? And if you think he deserves more national respect, hit the like button so more Niners fans see this breakdown. What makes this stretch even more encouraging is that there's no sign of regression. These aren't fluke performances. This is consistency. This is command. And when you pair that with the environment at Levi's Stadium, where the energy was real and the crowd made a difference, you start to understand why this team feels so dangerous heading into the final stretch. Make sure you're subscribed as we keep pushing toward 1,000 subscribers, because this quarterback conversation is only going to get louder. And coming up next, we need to talk about something just as important: the run game. Because when that part of the offense finally clicks alongside Brock Purdy, the entire equation changes. For a while this season, the run game felt like the one part of the offense that never fully matched the rest. It was productive, but inconsistent. Solid, but not dominant. And when you have one of the best running backs in football, that inconsistency stands out. That's why what we're seeing right now matters so much, because over the last 2 games, the 49ers haven't just improved on the ground, they've taken control of games with it. Against the Bears, the run game didn't just clear that 4 yards per carry mark. It blew past it. Nearly 6 yards per carry as a team, with Christian McCaffrey leading the way in what was arguably his best performance of the season and one of his best in a 49ers uniform. He ran with patience, power, and vision, picking his spots and punishing defenders who hesitated for even a split second. This wasn't just a stat-padding night. This was a tone-setting performance that kept the defense honest and opened everything else up. What makes it even more impressive is the context. The offensive line dealt with injuries, including losing Trent Williams early. And yet, the run game didn't slow down. If anything, it looked more confident as the game went on. That speaks volumes about preparation, depth, and belief in the system. When you can lose a Hall of Fame caliber player mid-game and still impose your will on the ground, that's a serious problem for opposing defenses. McCaffrey wasn't alone either. The contributions from other backs mattered. Brian Robinson Jr. made the most of his limited touches, showing burst and decisiveness. Even the small moments counted. A single carry here, a key scramble there. Brock Purdy's ability to pick up yards with his legs added another layer that defenses had to account for. Those red zone runs weren't just exciting, they were demoralizing. This is the balance Kyle Shanahan wants. When the run game is this efficient, the entire offense becomes unpredictable. Defenses can't sell out against the pass, and they can't load the box without consequences. And that's why this timing is perfect. The 49ers aren't figuring this out early in the season. They're doing it now, when momentum matters most. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you believe this version of the run game is here to stay? Or do you still need to see more? And if you're confident this offense is peaking at the right time, go ahead and like the video to show it. As we push toward 1,000 subscribers, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next. Because there's another huge part of this offense that deserves credit. With key players missing, others stepped up in a big way. And that next-man-up mentality showed itself again through the air. That's exactly where we're headed next. One of the biggest questions heading into this game was how the passing attack would look without one of its biggest pillars. When you're missing a player who consistently tilts coverage and creates mismatches, there's always some level of uncertainty. But what we saw instead was a perfect example of why this offense is so difficult to defend. It doesn't rely on one name. It relies on preparation, trust, and players being ready when their number is called. Ricky Pearsall, coming back from injury, immediately made an impact. He didn't ease into the game. He jumped right in and played with confidence, making tough catches and stretching the field. Even after an early scare, he stayed locked in and delivered exactly what this offense needs from him. That type of contribution matters, especially when timing and chemistry are critical late in the season. Then there was Jawan Jennings, who at this point feels like the definition of reliability. When the game gets tight and the moment gets big, he's exactly where Brock Purdy expects him to be. He doesn't need a massive target share to change a game. He just needs one opportunity in the biggest moment, and he delivered again. That game-winning touchdown wasn't surprising. It was familiar. It was trust paying off. But the real X factor in this game was Jake Tonges. With questions surrounding the tight end room, he didn't just fill a role. He elevated it. He was physical, dependable, and productive, turning short opportunities into meaningful gains. That touchdown wasn't just a nice highlight. It was proof that this offense functions because everyone understands the system and executes it. When one player goes down, another steps in without hesitation. And it didn't stop there. Demarcus Robinson made timely plays. Kendrick Bourne showed strong hands. Kyle Juszczyk found space when plays broke down. Even the smaller contributions added up, because that's how this offense works. It's layered, it's flexible, and it forces defenses to defend every blade of grass. So here's a question for you. Which player stepping up impressed you the most in this game? Drop the name in the comments, and let's see who fans trusted the most when it mattered. If this performance made you feel even better about the depth of this roster, hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed as we continue the push toward 1,000 subscribers. Because what's coming next is just as important. Injuries are still part of the conversation, the momentum is real, and the road ahead leads straight into a massive matchup that could shape everything. Let's talk about why, even with questions, this team feels like one nobody wants to face. As good as this win felt, it wouldn't be complete without talking about the reality that comes with it. Injuries are still part of the picture, and late in the season, they always are. Trent Williams leaving the game early was a moment that immediately grabbed everyone's attention. When a player of that caliber goes down, there's no sugarcoating the concern. He's a difference maker, a leader, and someone every defense has to account for on every snap. And with a short week ahead, it's fair to wonder how much he'll be able to give moving forward. But here's the part that matters most. The offense didn't fall apart. Austin Pleasance stepped in for a future Hall of Famer in the middle of a high-pressure game and held his ground. Was it perfect? No. But it was effective, and it was enough to keep everything on schedule. That's not something every team can say, and it's a direct reflection of how this roster is built and how it's been coached all season. The same conversation applies to George Kittle. His absence could have been a breaking point, and instead, it became another example of next man up. And the encouraging part is that there's real optimism he could be pushing to return soon. Whether he's back immediately or not, the message from this game is clear. This team doesn't change who it is. The schemes stay the same, the expectations stay the same. The belief doesn't waver, and that belief is fueled by momentum. Right now, the 49ers are riding as high as any team in football. They've weathered adversity, leaned into depth, and are playing their best football with everything on the line. There's a massive matchup ahead that could determine home field advantage, and it's happening where this team feeds off energy and confidence. That matters. A lot. Let me know what you think. Do you believe the 49ers can lock up the #1 seed and make the playoffs run through Levi's Stadium? Yes or no? Drop it in the comments. If you've enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you're subscribed and help us reach 1,000 subscribers as we keep bringing you non-stop Niners coverage. Hit the like button if you believe this team is built for January, because right now, it's hard to find anyone who would actually want to line up against them when the postseason arrives. Before we wrap up, tell me this in the comments. Are you more confident now than you were a week ago? Because the message has been sent, loud and clear. The 49ers are here, they're dangerous, and they're peaking at exactly the right time.